Now, if we look at the D block elements, say like manganese, atomic number 25, that has a configuration like 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p6, 3d, 5, 4s2. In its bonding, if I carefully look at the 3d5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 4s2. So, it is having 5 unpaired electron, manganese is supposed to show a valency of 5. But the D block elements are crazy in the sense they use one or more than one unpaired electrons for bonding as per the situation. It means the manganese can utilize not only these 3d electrons but also 4s electrons for bonding. Therefore, the manganese can show a valency of 2 when it is using only 2 valence electrons, or it can be sometimes show even 3, it is using 2 s electrons and 1 d electron. It can show valency like 4, 5, 6 and 7. The D block elements are crazy in the sense that their successive valencies are differing by only 1 unit. Whereas in main group elements, as you have seen in the case of carbon, sulfur, etc., the difference in successive valencies is 2 units because that involve excitation and unpairing of electron pair. In D block elements, the NES, that is outer s electrons, and N-1d electrons are utilized in bonding. As they are allowed to utilize the electrons in any combination they prefer, they show successive valencies differing by only 1 unit. This scenario is called variable valencies. Notice the common valency of all the D block elements is 2, but they can show variable valencies. Okay. Lanthanides common valency is 3. Lanthanides do not show variable valency. Actinides may show variable valency. So, variable valency arises for D block elements and also for actinides. Now, last point I want to say here is, if I know valency of 2 elements, say valency of A, if valency of A is small a, if valency of B is small b, I can make a compound by combining them as ABBA, criss-cross method. And of course, valency is different from oxidation number because valency can never be a fraction, valency can never be a 0. Usually, we do not put plus and minus sign when we are talking of valency. When we are talking of oxidation number, we can use those signs, and oxidation number is different. I am not talking about oxidation number at this point of time. Finally, I want to say, if I look at the 13th group elements like boron, aluminum, gallium, indium, thallium, all these elements have 3 valence electrons. The 3 valence electrons have a configuration like Ns2, Np1. So, due to excitation, they may use s electrons also for bonding. So, they have 2 options. They can show valency 1 or they can show valency 3. The higher group valency of 13th group element is 3. Similarly, if you take 14th group carbon, silicon, germanium, tin, lead, they have a configuration like Ns2, Np2. So, they can use only 2 unpaired electrons for bonding, valency can be 2, or they can use all the 4 electrons for bonding due to excitation. So, the 14th group elements can show 2 valencies, so on. If you take 15th group element like nitrogen, phosphorus, arsenic, antimony, bismuth, they have a configuration like Ns2, Np3. So, they can show a valency of 3 using only 3 unpaired p electrons, or they can excite and use all these to show 5. Notice the possibility of excitation exists for only third period elements, because the s electrons can get unpaired into d orbitals only when there are d orbitals. Third period elements can only have d orbitals, fourth period elements have, fifth period elements have, so on. But the second period elements like boron, carbon, nitrogen do not have empty d orbitals. So their valencies can never go beyond 4. No second period element valency can go beyond 4 because they don't have empty d orbitals. Now, last point I want to quickly mention is the boron aluminum family members can show valency 1 and valency 3. Carbon silicon family members can show valency 2 or valency 4. And the nitrogen phosphorus family members can show valency 3 or 5. Higher valency is not possible for second period elements because they don't have empty d orbitals. Further, as you are going down a group, the s orbital in the outer level will try to penetrate deep into the atom so that the s electrons try to enjoy more nuclear attraction. The s orbitals have ability to penetrate deep into atom. As you are going down the group, boron is having second level field, aluminum third, gallium fourth, indium fifth, thallium sixth. The 6s orbital, which is very far away normally from nucleus, try to bend deeply penetrate into atom to enjoy more nuclear attraction. As the s orbital is penetrating deep into the atom, it enjoys more nuclear attraction. It dislikes to come out for bonding. Therefore, the s electrons in bigger atoms are generally not available for bonding in case of atoms like thallium, lead, bismuth. This unavailability of s electrons for bonding minimizes their valency. For example, the thallium prefers to show valency 3, the valency 1 only. Thallium prefers valency 1 but never shows 3. Similarly, lead prefers valency 2, never likes 4. Bismuth prefers valency 3, never likes 5. Because the s electrons are enjoying more nuclear attraction by penetration. This unavailability of valence s electrons for bonding in bigger atoms is called as inert pair effect. There can be several questions based on inert pair effect. If you force thallium to show +3 state, it dislikes +3 state, it wants to remain in +1 state. Therefore, TlCl3 is unstable, it wants to become TlCl. In TlCl3, you forced the thallium to lose 3 electrons. Thallium dislikes to lose 3 electrons to 3 Cls. Thallium prefers only +1 state. So, if you forcefully make TlCl3, it tries to come back to TlCl level. How the TlCl3 can become TlCl? By gaining 2 electrons. Anybody who gains electrons from others is called as a oxidizing agent. Therefore, TlCl3 is a oxidizing agent. PbCl4 is a oxidizing agent. BiCl5 is a oxidizing agent because they try to take electrons to come down to lower valence state. This is the note on valency as desired by you. Thank you.